What makes the main idea of Better Angels so surprising, the main idea being that violence has been in decline over the long term of human history, is, as you say, you open the paper, whether it's on TV or internet or old-fashioned dead trees, news is about stuff that happens, not about stuff that doesn't happen. And as long as rates of violence haven't gone down to zero, which obviously they haven't, there's always enough of it to fill the news. And so if your impression of how violent the world is comes from the news, you'll think not only is it as violent as ever, but you'll think that it's more violent than ever before, because now everyone's a reporter. All it takes is a cell phone, and there are 7 billion of them. Many of them can do color video footage, which they can upload to the internet, and so everyone is a war reporter. So the violence that takes place, and granted there still is a fair amount of it, is in our face. But the parts of the world that are not at war, no one is beaming video footage of a peaceful street corner in Nicaragua or Angola or Mozambique or East Timor, places that had horrific bloodshed in the past that thankfully we don't hear about anymore. So it's only when you look at numbers, when you actually look at how many people are killed as a proportion of the population, that you can really appreciate how much more peaceful the world is today. This is true in the scale of homicides, where, say, in Britain, an Englishman today has about 1/35 the chance of being murdered as his medieval ancestors. It's a surprise when you see those curves, and they go down from the year 1200 to the present. I was shocked when I first saw that graph, and most people today are surprised when they first see it. The fact that we don't even appreciate this, but big, rich countries don't go to war with each other anymore. So Britain and France are not at war, Britain and Germany, Britain and America.
Right.
That used to be what big countries and empires did. They were always at each other's throat. Then as of 1945, that stopped. Korean War was the last time that two big, powerful countries fought each other. Now, there's still lots of nasty wars involving smaller countries, and too many of them, but they don't kill as many people as the good old-fashioned wars between big, rich countries with their big, rich armies. And even in the developing world, which continues to have far more wars than the developed world, but even there, if you actually plot the number of wars over time and the number of deaths in war over time, it's also gone down, particularly since the end of the Cold War. Then there are other things that people kind of knew all along and have to be reminded of, but slavery used to be legal everywhere on Earth. Now it's not legal anywhere. Wrongdoers were, and where wrongdoing could mean stealing a cabbage or criticizing the king, could be put to death in the most grisly, gruesome form of torture imaginable: disemboweling, crucifying, breaking on the wheel, burning at the stake. Then the corpses of a hanged man might be displayed in public. And it's not because I think that there's some kind of mysterious dialectical arc of justice that's going to bring us to utopia. I think it's just like other human problems that human ingenuity has been set to chipping away at. Shortages of food. People don't starve to death in the same numbers that they used to. Disease. People don't die of smallpox and polio anymore just because smart people have worked together to try to bring the rates down. Now, we haven't eliminated all disease, and we probably never will eliminate all disease, but we can eke out longer and longer lifespans, a few months, a few years at a time. And likewise, violence is a scourge. We're really better off if we don't kill each other than if we do. And the problem is, how do you get the other guy to agree not to commit violence at the same time as you do? If you're a unilateral pacifist, if you beat your swords into plowshares, but the other guy keeps his as swords, you could be in big trouble. The question is, how do you get everyone to beat their swords into plowshares at the same time? It's not so easy. And if you actually reduced violence to just psychopaths getting what they want and eliminating humans that happen to be obstacles on their path, there'd still be a lot of violence left, but you'd get rid of an awful lot of the worst cases in human history, like the Holocaust, like Stalin, like Mao, like Pol Pot, like the wars of religion. And there's a strong human tendency to assume that your enemy is a psychopath. Namely, he is interested only in causing harm for the sake of it. He's, twirling his mustache and cackling about how evil he is. Whereas if you get inside his head, he's thinking that he is advancing morality and bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth and punishing evildoers. And when you have both sides thinking that about the other side, then you can have an absolute refusal to compromise. You can have people refusing to be bribed out of violence. That is, European Union gives you $1 billion a year to stop the jihad. That makes you even more inflamed because, what are you, a whore who is willing to sell out your values for mere money? So I think, morality is a big problem. Morality in the sense of human moral intuitions.